Okay, welcome to Cleveland Heights City Council Committee of the Whole. It is Monday, March 3rd.
Tuesday.
No, it usually is Monday, but today's Tuesday. At 6:01, Addie, would you please call the roll?
Cobb.
Here.
Larson. Here. Posh.
Here.
DeWitt Foy.
Here.
Cohen. Kuda.
Here.
Stone. Here.
I'm sure Cohen's on her way. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is executive session. So go ahead, Craig, I guess. Did I catch you off
Yes.
guard?
No, I'd like to make a motion that we go into executive session to discuss with an attorney for the public body claims or disputes involving the public body that are the subject of pending court action or in the judgment of such attorney appear likely to be the subject of a future court action or claim, and B, to consider the appointment of a public official.
Second.
All right, any discussion? Go ahead, Amy.
Cobb.
Aye.
Larson. Aye. Posh.
Yes.
DeWitt Foy.
Yes.
Kuda.
Aye.
Stone. Yes.
All right, we're back from executive session and we're gonna go to item number 3 on the agenda. Chief Britton is gonna make a presentation about the violence intervention program. Chief?
Ready? Is Santa here okay for everybody or?
You've got the slides.
Well, he'll, yeah. Good evening, everybody. For those who don't know me, I'm Chief Chris Britton with the Police Department. Thank you for having us here, and we look forward to offering some insight when we talk about intervention, and along with that, with diversion. With the recent purchase of the police cars, to add to our community response with the schools for and events and so forth, we'll have those extra resources. But there's more behind the scenes than just talking about police cars and equipment. And I figured it would be best to hear from the individual himself who has built upon the program that has been part of the police department for many years, but more officially back since 2014 under Chief Robertson when they made a program more formalized. I don't know if you all remember Detective Barry, who kind of started it, and then we had Detective Toppin. But then COVID hit and kind of stalled out the program a little bit with not much participation. And then we were fortunate enough, this is Detective Riff, he's our juvenile diversion officer, and I think it would be best to hear from him. He can tell you about himself. He's very knowledgeable and experienced, his background. We're lucky to have him here in the department and to serve the community. And he has a PowerPoint prepared, and he'll go through the program to offer more insight on actually what we do here. Detective Riff.
Thanks, Chief. I'm not good at speaking well, more of a straight to the point kind of person, but I'm Detective Riff. I've been here since 2007, and I love working with kids. I'm a high school football coach. I've been coaching now 24 years, and I love to try to build up, see kids come from kids to adults and help them make that jump. But these are very special years when they're 12, 13, 14, 15 coming up, and I just think that they need a little bit of push sometimes. I'm gonna give a presentation today about the diversion program. I think a lot of people understand this, but maybe you will. With the diversion program, you gotta think the difference between those kids and us is we probably just didn't get caught. We did a lot of stuff growing up, and we probably just never got caught. And a lot of these kids, they got caught. And they're not like all bad kids or nothing, they just made some poor choices, and they just need us to help guide them. So that's what we're here to do. The diversion program, it serves as a voluntary alternative to juvenile court, which means if they don't want to do it, they don't have to. But usually they want to do it. It operates in partnership with the Cuyahoga County Juvenile Court. That's where I get all my referrals from, straight from the juvenile court. The last 2 years, we served 40 youth. And we had 32 successful. Successful means that they did everything I asked them to do, stayed out of trouble, and every box that was checked that they had them do, they actually completed everything. And their parents and everybody in the community school said that they've seen a change, and that's what we deemed successful. We focus on accountability, mentorship, and prevention. So this is more so like they got a little trouble. No F1s or F2s. So high level felonies, they can't be involved. But people who might get caught stealing at the store, or ran away from home, or truant, things like that, our low level stuff, those are the ones that we deal with. Some people just do some things that we just can't. It's just too bad. We just can't deal with that with diversion. It's a community-based alternative to formal court process, which means if they finish the program and are deemed successful, the juvenile record and stuff is wiped from being in trouble, whatever. So that's a big plus for those kids. We provide structured accountability requirements, weekly supervision and mentoring, which is done by me. And we refer to counseling and community resources as needed. So we work with Beachbrook and there's different places I can send referrals out for kids because I'm not a pro in certain stuff. So I just send it to the pros and give them referrals and find out what they need and they can go talk to the people who are professionals in handling those situations. 2024, we had 25 participants. 2025, we had 15, and that's coming from juvenile court too. They said that it's slowing down with the kids getting in trouble like that. It said it was slowing down, but there'll be more coming in. I'm sure I have more referrals coming in soon. So, I made a little graph. That was 24. This is 25. Now, out of 40, we had 32 successful. We have 4 active cases going right now, which are about to close, which all of them are being successful right now. So they finish one more thing I got them doing, then they'll be deemed successful. We had 4 unsuccessful. Unsuccessful is individuals who, they come to us, they do low-level things, and then before I even get to work with them a lot of times, they get in trouble for something high-level or something, so they can't work with us. Or they just, we tell them to do stuff, give them things to do, try to help them out, they just won't show. Or some kids, they just don't want to be involved.
Go back to juvie.
Yeah, then I send the case back, and now they got to go through the court process.
Wow.
When they could have worked with us, so we could have negated that process. We got a high completion rate, which demonstrates program effectiveness. You see, we're pretty successful. Now, these are some of the things that we have them do. Have them do community service, school attendance and behavior. We monitor school attendance and their behavior. That's real important. Curfew compliance with the parents. And also weekly check-ins with supervising detective, which is me. So I have them call. And the parents know every Friday before 6 p.m. They got to call me. I might be busy handling a case or something. I might not be able to answer every time, but they'll make them leave a message with the parents there. And they got to say, hey, Detective Griff, this is such and such. I'm doing good at home or whatever. Then the parent will say, yes, he's fine, blah, 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 and just so that I can hear their voice and know that the parents are watching them too. So. Weekly one-on-one mentoring sessions. What I did this summer with some of my guys, I did the guys one-on-one because I just felt more comfortable being one-on-one with the guys. I'm gonna try to find a way to get the girls one-on-ones, but I have to get maybe a female detective, somebody else to help. But with the guys, I did mentoring. I would have another detective come in. We would talk about life skills. We would talk to them about being a leader. There's good leaders, there's bad leaders. People lead people. They lead a lot of people, but they might lead them into a death trap or something. I explained to them that. I explained to them how to spend money, how to be fiscally financially responsible, and set goals. We talked a lot about that. But one big thing we talked about, which I don't see a lot, is anger management, conflict resolution. And I think one of the biggest things is respect for authority. So I think I started doing this job in 2007. It was a lot different. Everybody respected us as police. The more I've been doing this job, honestly, especially the kids, they lost a lot of respect. You know, they talk to us a lot different. They just don't give us the respect that they gave us when I started like 18 years ago. So I talked to these guys about, you know, showing respect and how respect is not given, it's earned. So like, you know, if you show people that you deserve respect, you'll give respect. And that's just some of the things that we talk about. Because a lot of these guys that I deal with, they don't have fathers at home. And, you know, that's a big thing. I was blessed. My dad was with me until he passed, and we were like that. And I learned a lot from having my dad in my home. So I'm like a dad to a lot of these people, these young men. And even the females, we talk about some things when it's a group setting, but the one-on-ones I pretty much do with the males right now. Decision making. To me, that was a big thing that we go over. Decision making. I asked them, well, why did you take that from that car, do that? And I said, stop and think about things before you make these decisions, because right now, you're building the foundation for your future. And they don't understand that because they can only see today, which I was like that too, you know. But I'm someone who could show them that you got to see further down the line, because the decisions you make now will directly reflect your future. And that's what I'm trying to teach the individuals. Diversion reduces reliance on formal juvenile court. It avoids court filing, hearing, probation, supervision. It's community-based intervention, significantly less expensive than formal. So this is way cheaper than going through juvenile court. I said 32 successful completions represent measurable system cost avoidance. And early intervention reduces the likelihood of repeat offenses. So if they get in trouble with something, staying out, run away, something, and I can get with them, the program, we can talk to them now that'll stop them from later maybe doing hard drugs or robbing people or something. That's one of the biggest preventions that we try to instill in the kids. I want to expand in this year going forward. I got some ideas to do more stuff. Like I want to try to get some people in to teach some job readiness. I mean, you're 14, 15, you got to start thinking about working. We all got to work, you know. And if nobody's preaching that to you, you don't see the significance in it. So if you can start now preaching that you got to work, and that's what we all got to do at a younger age. As they get older, they'll find a lot of significance in it. You want to spend a life skills program, the broader community partnerships. I want to get the individuals, the young individuals going where they can start meeting people in the community. So maybe if you see them out somewhere, you can say, hey, that's such and such. And then maybe that'll stop them from doing something because everybody knows you got relationships with people. And that could thwart a lot of negative actions. And continue to focus on prevention and accountability. Accountability is huge. I know my job is huge. Captain Young holds me accountable every day for what I do. So the chief holds me and Captain Young accountable. We all got to be held accountable. You know, and I don't want to let them down. So that's one of the things I want to teach the young man is when you come up, you know, you want to do a good job where you don't let the people down who is holding you accountable. So I did this. This is my closing. I just want to end with we're very big on leadership, accountability, and opportunity. There's a lot of young men and the parents when I see them now after the program. They still want me to still work with the kids even on the program. But I had a couple more things that I wanted to add. This was just some couple things from juvenile court because we work directly with juvenile court. So juvenile court is just divert low-level nonviolent youth to formal court processing, focus on early behavioral health screening, partnership with mental health clinicians and community providers, reduce unnecessary juvenile incarceration, supports rehabilitation over punishment. That's what we want to do. We want to rehabilitate them over punishing kids. In juvenile court, they meet with a specialist. They're screened. So when I get them, when I get the referrals, I get a paper about the family, about the kids' scores, about what kind of kid they are in the community and family before I even get a chance to work with them. Let's say formal court charges are often avoided what community safety allows. Targos low level and unruly youth cases. The ineligible ones are like when you're on active probation. You got a pending official case, age 10 or younger, and you're in the custody of Children and Family Services. They want to minimize court involvement and detention utilization, connect families to services addressing truancy, mental health, substance abuse, and behavior concerns, and strengthen youth accountability while keeping them in the community. And this is how we work with them. Within our framework, we operate a structured community diversion program. We implement weekly checks, assign individual corrective measures and mentoring, coordinate referrals and county community partners, and focus on rehabilitation, accountability, prevention. You always gonna hear me talk about rehabilitation, accountability, and prevention. That's big to us. Rehabilitation, accountability, and prevention. And
Thank you, Detective. Go ahead.
Thank you so much for your work. Thank you. Just two questions.
yes.
Now, when you say you work with the families and then you make a referral to another outside agency, are there any transportation requirements that you cannot meet, because a lot of the kids in my neighborhood, north of Mayfield, don't have transportation to
Sure.
places, so you just do your work inside the school timeframe, or how does that work?
No, I do my work outside of the school time frame.
Okay.
I meet them here at the police station,
Okay,
or I meet them on, we even came in this room before and had meetings and talk and stuff. I try to stay out of meeting with them at the schools and stuff, because I don't want to get a bad look with the kids in the school, like I'm like their
Yeah.
police officers. You know, it's just for some kids is they won't open up to you if they think everybody think, oh, you're hanging with the police. So when I get them alone here or something, there's nobody around, it's just us and the kids, it's way better atmosphere.
do you need any support on the community services angle where you would like to have as one of your referees doing some work in the community, to work with the city to find places for the school district, to
Yes.
find places for them to be productive?
Yes, we can always use as much help as we can get from
Okay.
the community.
Okay,
Yes, I'm always open for ideas.
all right.
You know, if it makes sense to help on the kids, you know, it's a safe alternative. I'm always looking forward to help.
Thanks.
Go ahead, Sarah.
It's a wonderful program, and the age that you're focusing on is so important. I just wonder if I know it's only been a few years, but if you've been able to see if those students who you work with, if they come back in the system, if they're repeat offenders. Do you see that, or is it too early to track?
I haven't seen many. It's a couple.
Uh-huh,
You know, it's a couple. I'm not gonna lie to you. I mean,
yeah, sure.
we're not perfect. We do a good job with them, but some people just make bad decisions.
It also strikes me, I'm kind of picking up on what Gail was asking about. You talked about some of the mentorship and community connections. I mean, I can imagine that there are groups here in Cleveland Heights that would be really interested in supporting you, particularly some from the faith community.
Yes.
So I'll
Yeah, that'd be outstanding. I would always use whatever help I can get. I'm sure you all know a lot of people. You can point me in the right direction.
Given that the numbers are going down, which is a positive, have you given thought to including in the program kids that might be identified as at risk, either by the school or mental health therapist or something like that, to bring them in before they potentially enter the juvenile system?
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna talk to my supervisor about, because right now we're just in juvenile court, and we probably could reach more young children. Maybe if we broaden it out a little bit to reach people even who haven't even did anything. They might be leaning towards, but they haven't got there yet. And maybe we could help them and stop them from going in that direction. That'd be something definitely that I would definitely talk to the chief about.
And I would say, not to interrupt for everybody listening, we're here as a, community effort, so maybe you have somebody at home, they're on the point or the question of, hey, maybe we, get some help or guidance or get some referral for resources. Detective Riff is here all the time. You can call him and he's more than happy or willing to set up a meeting or a conversation to offer guidance or assistance. And just going forward, just so you know, I do have a We do have an upcoming meeting with the school. We have a fantastic relationship with and how we can build on our collaboration and with Detective Riff.
You know, Detective, you strike me as somebody who's, you know, really gonna connect with kids and has. I know one of the biggest problems, especially in high school, is getting kids there for first period. Tardiness, skipping classes, you know, even though I saw attendance was one, you know, with that mindset of like, hey, you know, when I get there, I get there. That whole thing is, to me, what leads to, you know, the kind of behavior I think we're trying to. And so tell me how you address those kind of things about being on time and, you know,
Well,
skills.
that comes with like the weekly things that I'll talk to them about, and that would be a good one to talk about. You know, how important it is to be never on time, be early. That's what we try. I start at 8 o'clock shift, I try to get here by 7:30, 7:45. So that'll be something good I can talk. I haven't really spoken about that yet. I'm not. That's really good that you think about that, because that'll start and then that'll build off everything that they do for the whole day. Right?
It's an epidemic since COVID.
That's happened everywhere.
Yeah, right.
we gotta find
That's
a way.
not just a Cleveland Heights thing, but it's
It's a priority for the school district as well.
yeah.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, well, thank you very much. We really appreciate this.
Thank
It's a
you.
good present. And you're a good speaker. All right, we're gonna move on to legislative review.
Thanks, guys.
There we go. All right. Somehow we're gonna do this in 15 minutes. Yeah, well, I got a lot of marked up stuff. Okay, this is for first readings for consideration. We have 041-2026, a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with Tima Roofing for the Alma rooftop.
Lower roof, just the
Lower
lower
roof,
roof.
the lower roof,
Flat roof.
the flat roof.
Flat roof.
We have Chris, where are we?
Chris.
Oh, way in the back there. He's here from Parks and Rec. Any questions about this legislation? Well then, I'll ask. So I was looking at some of the, you know, the contract. And I see that, I'm sorry, I wish I brought my mouse. You know, the time entry under number 6, the exact completion date is unknown. You know, those are the kind of things that make me nervous. Can you speak on the timeline for this? Because we know there's programming this summer at the Alma.
Correct.
We'll make sure that the roof is done before then.
Well, Director Gonzalez, who I'm filling in for tonight, he said that once we can get the execution of the contract and getting the PO procured and approved, they'll be ready to go. And he says that, you know, the completion of the project is probably 3 to 4 weeks upon starting.
That's not
And then the Alma season, as long as we can get everything going, the season should not be in any kind of jeopardy.
Do we know how much the leaky roof has caused damage?
They have looked at that, and it just seems to be it seems like it's pretty controllable. There doesn't appear to be anything that would require us to have to bring in another outside firm or somebody to check for. Upon first look, it doesn't look like there's been any like significant damage mold wise or anything like that could potentially, delay the project even further.
I got the idea that money was being moved in the department to
That I
cover-
don't know.
Is anybody here from finance?
It is existing capital dollars.
Understood, but is there anything that's not getting done because we're doing this? Or was this originally scheduled to be done? I don't,
I'm pretty confident there's nothing that's not getting done.
okay, so we're not really shifting, we're just taking from capital. Okay, other questions besides mine? All right, Alright, resolution 042-2026, a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement with Daimler Truck North America, authorized distributor for a Freightliner 114 SD plus chassis. This is from municipal services
And budgeted.
and budgeted. Okay, no questions. 043, a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter an agreement with Classic Ford Mentor for a 2026 Ford 350 cab. And this is for snow plowing, correct?
This is for everyday work,
Everyday work, including snow plowing?
including plowing.
Okay. Any questions? All right, 044-2026, it's a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with International Motors LLC for a hot box combo.
Also budgeted.
So, all right, 45, a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with Northeastern Ohio Sewer District to accept funds for an infrastructure program for the Overlook Road area. SO, this is an SSO.
I've got a question.
Yeah,
for
please,
Clay
Clay.
Scale. Is this being done because they're of what you found or what they determined about the, what do they call them? The what's the word when they're not correct, they put in?
Sorry.
Yeah.
This is for the design of an SSO that has already been identified,
Yes,
SSO
that's fine, yeah.
46.
So there's nothing new about this one?
No.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, 46 is a resolution authorizing the mayor to submit an application to ODOT for safe routes to school. Go ahead.
I have a question and a statement. Councillor DeWitt Foy, it was determined that this was a project that would fall into the CSAP and the ATP program. So what about this particular area became something that we needed to pay attention to through this grant and get the danger issues resolved and make it safer for kids?
So I would call out a couple things. It was identified in the active transportation plan and the comprehensive and equitable safety action plan. This particular project connects 4 schools, 3 elementary schools and a middle school. Serves a high number of students that move throughout that that corridor. There have also been a number of injuries and unfortunately a death right along that road, not of a student, but in years past on Lee Road at Scarborough, essentially right where this would cross Lee Road. So in addition to improvements along the corridor, crossing improvements for pedestrian safety to get across Lee Road, Taylor, Fairmount, Coventry were all identified as necessary. And then part of this came out of an incident that happened at the beginning of the school year where a student was hit on a bike leaving Fairfax. And so that started conversations around school safety more broadly. This is one project that I think is likely to score highly according to the Safe Routes to School criteria. So this felt like a good project to go after. There's a number of other projects happening around the city with Safe Streets for All funding. So we're going to be hitting more areas of the city, but this felt like a good opportunity to go after some dollars from Safe Routes to School.
Thank you so much. My statement is we did not get this legislation until 11 o'clock this morning. And President Kuda and I have been working really hard on trying to get legislation packets to council. So for it to have received it this morning and having to, Clerk Galster having to amend the agenda at that late date is one I wanna talk about when we get a chance to talk with law and with our clerk, because
And planning.
Yeah,
this was of concern.
are you okay with voting on it tonight? Cause I mean, this is the place where.
Absolutely, no,
Okay.
no, I'm fine with voting on it, I totally get it, and Counselor DeWitt Foy's answered my question, so.
Go ahead.
Following up on that, I mean, if I hadn't checked my council email between running around my kids for the holiday and running to the holiday meal, I wouldn't even have known that this was added. So are we voting for adoption tonight?
There's a
Everything-
deadline that needs to be made for the application.
Okay, I don't know if personally, I mean, I'm happy if we vote. I don't think my abstaining is gonna make a difference, but I feel uncomfortable in voting on something that I
You
haven't
can't
read.
abstain, but you can vote no.
I think if I abstain, I can abstain, but it counts as a pass. That's fine.
Pardon me? Say that again?
I can abstain, but it counts as a yes. So if
Oh, okay,
It's like an
Thank you.
ineffective recusal essentially.
okay.
but I haven't read it, so to be fair.
With the state continually trying to defund the public schools, we are gonna find more and more need to find ways that kids can get to their schools. I mean, I know they're not planning on, no one's planning on cutting budgets, but there's probably gonna be a levy on the ballot much sooner than you'd ever imagine. And the way I look at it is the more things we can make getting these kids to school safer without a bus is gonna be important, so it's a good point.
All right, 47, 2026, Mayor, I'm gonna call on you in a second. Resolution declaring the intent of the city of Cleveland Heights to finance to the extent necessary the construction of a new outdoor municipal pool and to pursue all available funding sources to offset local costs.
Mr. President, would you like for me to provide an update now or during the lobbyist section on the agenda?
I mean, you can do it during your mayor report or,
I'm sorry, for in this meeting.
oh,
It looks like this might be in two different places on the agenda.
yeah,
I think when the lobbyist agenda item was put on, this piece of legislation wasn't yet contemplated for the meeting.
Yeah.
I mean, go ahead.
Based on the leadership meeting, I thought that that was the purpose of that, but just to remind folks.
We may not get to that.
Okay, so grateful that Cumberland is turning 100 years old next year. It's lasted a long time, but we're at a point where the county has told us that Cumberland is polluting the local watershed. And so last year, as council may remember, allocated funding to hire a lobbyist. We distributed an RFP, we interviewed respondents, and we selected Retzel to assist us with securing funding from the state and federal governments. We've met 4 times with our state representative, Juanita Brent, and we continue to work with Millennium Strategies, our grants writing partner. Community leaders and organizations are writing letters of support, and I'll be in Columbus on March 10th and 11th, meeting with legislators about funding for Cumberland Pool. And we are preparing to submit our capital request to the state on March 12th. So what we've heard is that groups are reluctant to be the first money in on a project. And so at the advice of Retzel, we think that it's important that we signal support through a city council resolution.
We're trying to get a capital stack together here.
Right.
Any questions about this? Okay, thank you, Mayor. 48 is a resolution appointing Samia Azudin as a member of the Transportation and Mobility Committee. 49 is a resolution reappointing Sam Bell, Chris Brace, Patrick Crago, Fern Hott, and Gail Lewin, and Howard Mayer to the Transportation and Mobility Committee. 50 is a resolution opposing passage of House Bills 26, 42, and 281, and Ohio Senate Bill 172. Councilwoman, say anything?
This reflects our conversation from the last meeting we had.
Also an attempt to take away more of our home rule. So their attempt is.
That's right.
And as per our conversation, that there was an additional whereas added to reflect that.
Thank you.
All right, Jane. Okay. 51 is an ordinance authorizing the mayor to execute an amendment to tower lease agreement for the T-Mobile contract.
This does not have to be adopted on first reading, Mr. President.
We don't have to move the
Yeah.
agenda, right? That's it.
Just don't make a
Just
motion.
don't vote on it.
Alright,
Can I ask a question?
please.
Director Klingscale's here. This equipment's down at the transfer station for AT&T Mobile. They're talking about putting in a shed. I would assume that they'd have to comply with all the permitting and everything that anybody else would have to comply with, so that you're in agreement with where they're placing it and all those things?
Yes, it's an existing tower.
Yeah.
That they're looking to make higher. And any changes that would require permits, they would have to get the permits.
Thank you.
Mr. President,
Alright, yes.
is there any impact to the larger work that has to be done at the transfer station with this?
I just need to state for the record that I've been advised by my employer ethics team that I will recuse myself from any discussion and voting on this matter.
Thank you, Councilman. Okay, 53, resolution approving the mayor's appointment of Dee Weber as the Director of Human Resources. Sorry, this wasn't originally on, but
Just slipped my mind completely.
in a formality after we went through the,
So we do have that piece of legislation on here for first
it's not a formality, it's, yeah, yes.
Okay.
First readings only. We have 52, 2026 resolution authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement with Playcore Wisconsin, Inc. for game time. This is an installation of a tot lot, not a tot lot, a tot playground. I'm just trying to rhyme things. So that's first reading only. And then second readings, we have 37, 2026 resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with Best Equipment Company for the acquisition of a Peterson TL3 lightning loader, also known as a claw truck. And 38 is second reading, resolution authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement with Urban SDK for the provision of a geospatial AI solutions roadway data. So this is to, Dr. Kingston, this is so we can identify the condition of roads.
No, this has to do with the traffic calming.
Traffic, okay,
Question, Councilman Kudo?
yes.
Some of the questions that went back and forth with Director Klingscale and City Administrator Reese helped me get answers. It talks about the fact that there might be and you might be able to address this as well, Ken. Lower volume on residential streets that might skew the data. And is it possible that the company could expand the time frame to get a better gauge? That was the language that was used. The company could expand the time frame to get a better gauge, so a larger sample. Is that a concern, or is that something that can be adapted without costing us more?
So you can, in the program, you can set it for just looking at 1 hour of 1 day of 1 week if you want, or you can spread it across the month's period of time.
Okay.
So there's quite a bit of flexibility. You can set that time range, you can set it to only say Tuesdays if you want. So if that is the request, we can certainly do things like that.
So you might have to have some, if a neighborhood is concerned that they have a speeding issue, that they define perhaps the time period that the speeding issue is happening, or?
Yeah,
We can look at that day, that
Okay.
time.
All right, thank you.
Is this a supplement to other data we collect for this purpose?
No.
So this is it.
Yeah, we implemented this when we began to get a lot of requests for speeding or to install speed tables as a way to determine if in fact there is a speed problem. And to kind of marry it with when we do road construction, if there are any type of speed devices that may be required to reduce the speed on those streets that we are doing capital projects on.
Sorry. Mayor, can we get something out about this? Because people are still calling saying, how can we get a speed trap on our street? And so
We're actively discussing a strategy,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
more information to come.
Okay, go ahead.
This was actually discussed in the public safety meeting and public safety and health meeting. I'm supporting this. I think this is an important tool, but it's one tool of many. I mean, this is from what learned on the video call that you guys had, it appears that only the newer cars are being tracked. The older cars aren't because they don't have the technology in them to hit the satellites, which probably skews things a little bit, but you have to aggregate everything. I'd like to have a conversation about this in the public safety meeting, but I don't want to withhold a vote because I think this is good and I think we need to vote on it as quickly as possible, so.
I just think it's important to point out that the data that's being collected is aggregated data. It's not personal data. It's not individualized data. Because when you say data, people get very nervous. We do not know who's driving down these streets. And that we discussed also on the
I'm glad you said that because that does come up, especially on social media. Okay, we're gonna move on to the next agenda item. We have Adam Rossi here who's gonna talk about do some community energy presentation. Adam, I can do this too, like, yeah, cut it down to maybe like 10 minutes.
Sure. While she's getting set up, I'll just, in the interest of time, introduce myself. My name is Adam Rossi, proud resident here of Cleveland Heights. I did work about 2 years in the solar energy industry, and I'm about to start a job at Cuyahoga Metropolitan Housing Authority doing energy efficiency. But mostly I can just come to you as a concerned citizen and an excited citizen of Ohio about the potential future of solar energy here in our state and how Cleveland Heights can be supportive of that. I'm also just going to talk for a few minutes here, but I do have several other people here that are also excited about the future of solar energy in Ohio. Could you raise your hand if you're here in support of community energy? Awesome. So there's a lot of community energy around community energy. So yeah, just really excited about that. Thank you all for your time. Quick show of hands, how many people have solar panels on their home in this room? Awesome. Okay, I got to see a few. Okay, raise your hand if you would like to get solar, but just haven't been able to do that yet. Okay, quite a few more, and I'm part of that, right? So it turns out you're not alone. So almost 4 in 5 people in the United States can't get solar energy on their home for whatever reason. Maybe there are financial obstacles in the way. Maybe the upfront cost is too much. Maybe you can't qualify for a loan because of your credit score. Perhaps you don't have control over your own roof. You're like, I rent my apartment and I can make decisions like that. Maybe you own a condo. Or maybe there are shading or structural issues with your property. Maybe you have a historic home. Maybe you have a roof that is north facing. Maybe you just have too much shade. I love the amount of trees here in Cleveland Heights. I think it's a great thing. I love our trees. I think there are only 2 drawbacks. One is it's hard to grow a garden. You gotta be into your shade-loving species. And another is it's hard to get solar, right? Well, if you like to garden, one thing you can do is do a community garden, right? And subscribe to a plot in a community garden where there's plenty of sun and grow there among other people who like to grow stuff alongside you. Well, to get around this solar problem, you could actually take a very similar approach and have a solar community garden, if you will. And that is really what community solar is. Okay, so imagine taking those solar panels from your rooftop and putting them in a community space where people can subscribe to that solar array. Okay, so we're talking about projects that are pretty small. Okay, so 2 to 3 megawatts in size. Picture, the next slide has a better picture here. Picture something like this. So this solar piece is Mary's. This is Brian's. This is the mayor's. This is Council President Kudas right there. So we can all subscribe to pieces of this community solar array. All right. There are 24 states that have what's called enabling legislation to allow for this to happen. And Ohio is closer than ever to becoming the 25th, which is a really exciting time. Anything else I wanted to mention about here? I think we can skip most of this. Just want to point out that power is generated close to where it is used, keeping power local, also potentially keeping money local. This really opens the door to a lot of different ways to keep not only the power generation, but the money here in Cleveland Heights. For example, if Cleveland Heights itself the city of Cleveland Heights owned a plot of land, they could potentially lease that to a third party solar community solar company and then could reap the financial benefits of that. So there's a lot of possibility with community solar. So House Bill 303 is the most recent community solar bill in Ohio. It passed the House with flying colors. So I think 77-8 was the vote. So it's very strong bipartisan support, which is really, really exciting. It's sponsored by 2 Republican state lawmakers, which is awesome. Senate Bill 231 is the companion bill in the Senate, which is currently being considered. And Roger Sykes from Solar United Neighbors, I want to point out he's in the room here. He might be able to answer more questions about the nuts and bolts of that. But generally, as I understand it, we're anticipating a little more of an uphill battle in the Senate, and that's where municipalities like Cleveland Heights come into play.
Senator Blessing, try him.
Okay.
He's a good dude, Cincinnati Republican. He's very open-minded about these kind of things.
Okay, good to hear. Thank you.
Sure.
Awesome. So again, this is showing you that community solar, it's not like these huge utility scale projects that are basically a solar version of a coal plant. It's also not on your roof, but something in between. Think maybe the rooftop of the Daves here in Severance Circle, or maybe the rooftop of Cleveland Heights High School. Okay, so once again, this is the closest we've ever been in the state. This would allow for a pilot program. It's a 4-year pilot program. It would be about 300,000 homes worth of energy. I've got the number on the previous slide here. It's 1,500 megawatts of a pilot program. So it's about 300,000 homes. In 4 years, we go back and hopefully continue the program for a lot longer. But we need this for a lot of reasons. One, electricity prices skyrocketing. Last summer, we saw a 26% increase on our electricity bills. That will only continue. Local generation means less need to import energy from PJM, less costly energy, and there's so much red tape involved in getting these larger scale utility scale projects on the grid. That takes several years at the least. Even if you put rooftop solar on your roof in the United States, that's at least 6 months on average. Community energy is a lot quicker to deploy than these utility scale anyway energy sources. Plus, you have significant tax revenue, job creation, a lot of benefits for Ohioans. Ohio University did a study about this bill and came out with these numbers, just trying to illustrate the economic benefit potentially of community solar. So an effort is led by Solar United Neighbors to get municipalities all across the state to show the Senate that there is broad support for this all across the state of Ohio. Over on the west side, Lakewood just passed a resolution in support of community solar. Wyoming, suburb of Cincinnati, down in the southwest part of the state, passed a resolution. And I'd be really excited for Cleveland Heights to hop on board and support, show Ohio that this is something that we all need across the Buckeye State. I'll leave it at that and be happy to answer any questions.
Questions, Brian? I wanna, go ahead.
Can we see a resolution? Can you just forward one to us so we can have a look at it
to you the resolution, the sample resolution earlier this week, so.
this week?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll look.
Thank you.
I want to thank my old school chum Jerry Unger for introducing me to Adam back in the day when I was mayor.
Back a hundred years ago, Roosevelt Junior High School.
Roosevelt Junior High School, yep. Boy, that's a lot of years.
What this legislation does is, the end statement is, now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of Cleveland Heights calls on the Ohio Legislature to approve a community energy pilot program, HB 303, which passed the Ohio House with a 77-8 affirmative vote and awaits passage in the Ohio Senate. So that's what the legislation accomplishes. So I guess we just need to decide if council's willing to move it forward, because I can get stuff together for law if that's okay.
Is everybody okay with that?
Yes.
Yep. Great.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
It was really informative. And the savings is, I mean, that's really something that, you know, we always want to sell people and say, oh, this is gonna cost us, you know, so.
Yeah, it's only a financial boon, I think.
Yeah. Right.
Thank you, Adam.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
We have like 15 minutes worth of stuff to talk about and about 5 minutes to do it. So let's just, as far as the town hall stuff goes, I mean, Vice President Larson and I are planning on doing a couple of joint things together towards the end of this month. Certainly, council members can do this. It's just, make sure that if we attend, we don't do anything that, creates a meeting, where people on council are. But if we need further discussion on this, is it okay if we do that at another time?
I think so, but I also wanna ask that we share what's being planned because when I asked the law department initially about having informal town halls with residents, there was concern about one or two council members doing it on their own because of potential open meeting issues, but also the concern of not having all of us there and then not having a public record as well. So I don't know if Bill.
We'll always, when we schedule something through Addie, we'll always let everybody know. Go ahead.
So I would just say, I think certainly to the councilwoman's point, there are Open Meetings Act questions that can arise whenever there's more than half of you in one place. And I think the related question, this came up a couple years ago. I think council leadership at that time was considering doing something like this. And my recollection is, and Councilman Cobb may remember, that council wanted to understand what it was. It was coming up very rapidly at that point. And figure out if they wanted to sort of authorize this by motion. So that's something that you were inviting discussion. I think that's something that might be worth discussing so that there's clarity about the nature of the event and whether it's an official city/city council event or whether it's two people who happen to be on council who are having something.
Was there a resolution or a motion? Did anybody ever write anything up?
I don't think that there was a resolution introduced. I think there was a motion. I have to go back and take a look.
My recollection it was an oral motion. I don't think it passed, but I could be wrong. There was some other controversial issues going on with council.
That sounds right, but that's why I wanted to check.
And we can revisit this. We kind of got an update on the lobbyist. Councilman Posh was kind enough, I'm sorry, let me say what the topic is first. Scheduling a council workshop / retreat. Maybe we'll use the word, just so people listening. We're not going anywhere, we're not staying we're not going to Hawaii to do this. We're gonna do this. The only cost to this could be lunch.
Right.
But it will be the workshop will be something that we would do that would be on YouTube live. But Councilman gave us kind of an agenda. Do you want to say anything about it? Or, I did read through it.
Yeah, I shared it with you just to see if I should then share it with everybody else or if you wanted to share it with everybody else. And it's just sort of just some basic ideas of maybe how we could get something accomplished. We probably should read it first and decide. I mean, there's a homework assignment to kind of come up with items that are important to you, like traffic safety. I mean, I think the ultimate goal is to have a unified set of priorities that we're all comfortable with. And with priorities, you also have expectations. Want to try to figure out the difference between those two and what's important for us. And I tried to put together a process that gives everybody an equal voice and then sort of a process of how they can kind of run through a funnel. And we can sort of all 7 of us pick something. And I know we've got tentative dates in March on the 8th and on the 15th. We may want to revisit that timeframe
I think we have
because
to revisit that.
But we talked about it. I thought it was in April. So
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna try to do it in April now.
okay,
So we have all 7 of us there.
do we have dates yet or will
I
Addie?
think the 2 Sundays were the 19th and the 26th to get past Passover and the film festival.
And was one your birthday?
The 30th is my birthday,
Oh, okay.
so if we meet on the 26th,
Oh,
I'm
okay.
happy to bring a kosher cake so we can celebrate.
All right,
You
I just
only
remember,
turned 41 once, so.
I remember something about a birthday party.
So I'll send out a doodle poll with like those 2
That
dates
would be
just to
great.
make sure
Yeah.
that we're all.
And
Does-
then,
Does anybody know of right now that they can't make one of the Sundays? And by the way, we're probably looking at, I don't know who goes to church and I don't think, but since it's Sunday, what would be a starting time, just so we have, that would be comfortable for everybody?
Not before noon.
I could meet as early as 10:30 for me.
Okay.
I forget you don't have kids that are waking you up on Sunday morning with the crack. Your kid's big.
Is noonish okay with everybody like that? Okay.
I could do 11.
Well, I'll send
One
out-
day I'll be retired, Craig, one day.
Are we thinking like a 4, 5 hour, like what are?
Yeah, I'm thinking 4 or 5 hours. I mean, we've done these before. It's 2-3 hours. You'd be surprised. I mean, I can't say they're
I'm
all.
giving Craig a hard time.
It's all right.
I'll send out
Yeah.
some options.
Probably too cold to golf that day anyway.
You never know. All right, with all that, it's 7:31 and this meeting is adjourned.